the Israeli-Palestinian conflict can seem impossible to comprehend. By looking at the year that most changed the lives of Israelis and Palestinians, 1948, it becomes possible to understand the forces that drive this conflict today. For Israelis, 1948 was a year of creation. The terrible injustices Jews had faced throughout the world would finally come to an end with the realization of their long sought-after solution, a Jewish state in Palestine. For Palestinians, 1948 was a catastrophe. That one year saw the destruction of hundreds of Palestinian villages and towns, their inhabitants replaced by outsiders from Europe and Russia, and most Palestinians would never see their home again. When Zionist settlers began arriving in the 1880s, the Palestinian population already numbered around 450,000 Arabs and 20,000 Jews.
كانوا اليهود موجودين يهود حقيقيين من اليهود اللي غير متطرفين، يعني كانوا مستقيمين وكانوا يعرفوا إنه أنا إلي حق إني أعيش هون مثل ما إله هو حق يعيش هون.
Early Zionism thought you can actually buy the Palestinians out. You can buy bits of the land here, you push them out, gradually you push them into Transjordan. By the mid-30s, the key figures within the leadership realized the only way to do it is to do it on a mass scale, to engineer it.
In 1940, Yosef Weitz wrote in his diary, "The only way is to transfer the Arabs from here to neighboring countries. All of them, except perhaps Bethlehem, Nazareth, and Old Jerusalem. Not a single village or a single tribe must be left." The Jewish attack on Haifa was accompanied by a massive, indiscriminate bombardment by mortars. The Haganah also used loudspeaker trucks to broadcast recordings of shrieks, gunfire, explosions, and calls to flee for your lives. This tactic was used in many places by Jewish militias in 1948.
كانت تمشي دبابة ب4 عجال نشرت الأولاد الصغار يخافوا، الحريم تخاف، العالم تخاف، كله خداع، لأنه كانوا بس بدهم يخوفونا، يطلعونا، بدهم يطلعونا.
In Haifa, the Jewish attack continued. Unlike in other towns and villages, Haifa's mayor, Shabtai Levi, actually pleaded with the Arabs to stay.
And he said, "Don't leave, stay here. We want you here. You belong here. Don't leave."
But there's no reason for them to believe him.
And when Ben-Gurion later visited Nazareth, he looked around in astonishment and asked the Israeli officers, "Why are there so many Arabs? Why didn't you expel them?" The second truce of the war began 10 days after the end of the first. This truce officially lasted 3 months, but while fighting slowed down, it did not stop. The village where Mustafa Abu Ziyad lived was one of the targets of the largest military operation during the truce.
إنه الليل الساعة كذا وكذا بالمناشير نزلت طيارة، والله إني شايفها طيارة حربية. انذار كافي كذا 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 الليل الساعة 11 اطلعوا مع شارع عرعرة على شارع على عرعرة وعرعرة، واللي بيطلع ما يتلفتش لا شمال ولا يمين، وإذا بروح هيك ولا هيك عن الشارع بروح بموت.
They usually surrounded the village and left one road open, prevented people from going in any direction except in one direction toward the closest Arab state.
مأساة الشعب الفلسطيني بهذاك اليوم.
The Zionist movement was successful in establishing the State of Israel. But the dream of a safe haven for the Jewish people has not been realized. Since the end of the 1948 war, the Israeli-Palestinian conflict has only grown more complicated and intractable. And the hopes, fears, and grievances that drove the conflict in 1948 are still central to the conflict today. Israelis build more and more settlements in the occupied West Bank, and Palestinians continue to be cut off from their homes and livelihood by military occupation, home demolition, checkpoints, curfews, and the construction of a wall that runs deep into Palestinian territory. As a result, Israel now controls nearly all of historic Palestine.
Here's the question. Was the establishment of the State of Israel so important that no matter what price Palestinians had to pay for it, it was worth it? Or was there something fundamentally wrong with a project that can only be realized by displacing hundreds and thousands of people?